Hey guys, what's going on? This week we cover a question. That's right, just one, because it was a good question and it's going to take me a little while to unravel it. First question, for silent recording. So that this came about, they just bought a DSL-20 and they want to silent record, but they don't want to use a captor. I don't know why they don't want to use a captor, but I will say this. There are two different types of 2Notes captors. There's like the captor version, which I actually own, and then there's the captor X. And there are differences between the two. Like the X is like the souped up version of the captor. So you don't want to use a captor. That's fine. There's other options. I mean, nowadays you even have pedals you can use where you don't even really necessarily need an amplifier. So let's break this down because this is probably good information for anyone that's looking to silent record. I've been doing that for years. So at the very basic level, you need an amp, you need a load box, and you need a speaker simulator. So any way you can get those is fine. If you're silent recording, that tells me you have a computer and you have an interface. So let's just get those out of the way. You have that covered. Wonderful. You need a load box. So what is a load box? A load box loads your amp's speaker output line level signal so you can run it into your interface without blowing it up, basically. There's various types. There's reactive, which reacts to use a player and adjusts for the impedance curve, where there is resistive, and that gets rid of the impedance curve. And if you don't know about some of these specific terms, I would just look them up because it really does help understand what goes on when you're trying to do different things like this. A speaker simulator would be in your DAW. It's something that you can recall as a plug-in and put it through. So like 2Notes has a wall of sound, which is free. It has various cabinets and mics, and you can add to them. And then like IRs are like a totally different thing, but as long as you have a load box to your amp's output to instead of a speaker cab to go into your interface, you're good. There are various ways you can handle this. 2Notes makes another product, Torpedo Reload, which is a bigger box. It does actually a ton of stuff. It's got a great attenuator. It does the load box function. It is reactive, and it also allows you to reamp, which is super cool. So, but if you're reamping, then you need more pieces to gear. So you're going down like a different rabbit hole where you got to spend more money. They also have the Torpedo Cab M, which is like a pedal footprint type. Now Rev has got some stuff. Universal Audio has the aux, and then Sir has reactive load IRs as well. So they have the load box, and then it also has an IR loader, so you can load, you know, like a specific cab. Mesa has a cab clone, and there's various options of the cab clone, but you can also look into those too. But it's more Mesa sounding than Marshall. So you're going to get more of a modern 412 Mesa sound than, you know, the more classic kind of Marshall Greenback V30 thing, because at the end of the day, Marshall and Mesa cabs are very different. They sound very different. They react differently. I mentioned a lot of products in this video. Wherever you shop, I would definitely check out, you know, all these options. Because there's a ton of them out there that you can check out. So I'm hoping this makes sense, because if it doesn't make sense, I would definitely look up a couple terms. So for this whole process, you need to shell out more money. Like whether it's used or new, it doesn't really matter. But then you need like the cable hookups to do all this stuff. You know, when it comes to load boxes or IR loaders or anything like that, it's a worthy investment. And you can buy one piece of gear that will work for any amp, which is awesome. If you move on from the Marshall and you get a Mesa or you get an Orange or a Matchless or whatever the case is, you can at least then use your load boxes or your IR unit or whatever it is that you end up getting with that other amp. You're not tied to using it with only the Marshall. Like that's the only downside if you got a specific amp to use. So like if you got the Mesa Mark V 25, because it has a loaded cab clone in it, so you could do direct recording. The only downside is when you get rid of the Mesa, the cab clone for that version goes with it. The other part of it is you could get into the pedals. So Strymon has a pedal out called the Iridium. Rawers has a new Mako series pedal out, kind of model the same thing. A clean, a Vox tone, and then a Marshall. You're looking at very similar tones, kind of executed differently, but they're great pedals. I recently tried an Iridium and was totally blown away. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. You can hit up my email, ContactTheJay@gmail.com. As always, thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Many more videos to come. Don't miss one sub.